Hi everybody, Angela Cairns here at the end of a wonderful launch day that I hope you've enjoyed sharing with me. West Lexham is a truly magical place and I've had a wonderful time on the Simply Retreat day. We've done some amazing mindfulness activities, meditation, sound baths. We've enjoyed the park here. We've done some heart healing. It's been a really magical day, rounded off with an interview for BBC Essex, which was also very enjoyable with Rob Jelly, and you can get that on BBC Sounds if you missed it. So here I am at the end of that day to do my second book at bedtime. And I'm reading from A Song for Kitty, which was launched today. And we left Aiden and Lily, two neighbours, young people both doing apprenticeships. We left them on their way into the centre of Portsmouth. They just got off the tram and they were both heading for work. Workers milled like ants as they headed for shops, offices and banks in the city's centre. Lily thought, something is always happening here. She deftly sidestepped a pile of horse dung in the road, then watched its perpetrator trot smartly away, drawing the bank's strongbox behind it. London, she thought, must be even more exciting. The entrance to the workroom was at the side of the shop. Narrow stone stairs with a metal handrail led down to the half floor below the showroom. Lily took her calico pinafore from the hook and replaced it with her hat and coat. She smoothed the apron over her skirt and patted her hair to ensure that the chignon was in place. Mrs. Winchett liked her girls neat and tidy. "Good morning, Miss Matthews." Hearing her full name, Lily felt a momentary glow. Mrs. Winchett had promoted her from plain Lily. Now she had her place at the table. The feeling faded fast. Mrs. Winchett's sharp eyes had taken in her new skirt. "You haven't set those pleats correctly," she tutted. "Trying to run before you can walk." "Yes, Mrs. Winchett." Lily dropped her gaze and took her place at the table beside Grace. "Old cat," Grace whispered. Lily gave her a startled look. She'd never dared say anything derogatory about her boss. No one spoke as Mrs. Winchett gave out the order of work for the day. Lily had hundreds of tiny pearl buttons to add to dresses and blouses. She was also assigned a tailor's dummy and her supervisor, Miss Laidlaw, who would begin to teach her how to set a sleeve. Miss Laidlaw had been Grace's supervisor too. Known to be strict, she made Grace unpick and unpick until her stitches and the set were as perfect as her own excellent work. Lily wouldn't mind that. She wanted to be the best dressmaker in the workroom. At lunchtime, she and Grace, arm in arm, took their packets of sandwiches wrapped in greaseproof paper to the new Guildhall Square. Grace giggled as a young bank clerk tipped his hat to them. "I'm going to marry someone with a good job and lots of money, so I never have to sew a stitch again. Maybe go to America even." Lily looked at her. "Not me. I'll have a modiste's shop in London and be a dressmaker to the theatre stars." Grace laughed. "Well, you want to come to America with me then? My rich husband can introduce you." She extended her hand elegantly, as if smoothing a long glove along her arm. Lily shook her head, putting on a serious face. "You won't like America. You can't cope with mice in the storeroom, and there are mice the size of cats over there, and rats on the boat." Grace shuddered. "I can bear anything if someone else does the sewing." The Guildhall clock struck the half hour and Lily jumped up. She didn't understand Grace. Lately, she'd had no interest in her work and mainly wanted to talk about boys. Come on, we'd better get back or we'll be in trouble. Lily knew America was not for her. London was far enough. Boats sank and people drowned. Awful it was. Her pa had told her. He'd read a story to her the other night from his paper. He and Ma had been to the new Electric Theatre to see the newsreel, and Ma said she hadn't slept a wink that night thinking about those poor souls. If that was ships, Lily didn't want to be any closer than watching them sail past the Hard and waving at the sailors on deck. When Lily left work that evening, her eyes felt strained from focusing on the tiny buttons. Miss Laidlaw had given her a sample blouse, almost like a doll's outfit, to practice setting a sleeve into. Lily had to show a leg of mutton sleeve on one side with its gathered top, and on the other one of the new-fashioned straight sleeves. Her first attempt ended in failure and was unpicked and folded in her work basket for tomorrow. Miss Laidlaw had pointed out that Lily's preparation and the foundation tacking stitches were not accurate enough. When Lily finished that sample blouse, to Miss Laidlaw's satisfaction, her next job would be to make a work blouse for herself, and if that passed muster, she would begin to work on clothes for paying clients. After work, Aiden was waiting at the tram stop for her with a brown bag tucked under one arm. Poking out the pink and green cover with a white bandstand on front proclaimed Alexander's Ragtime Band. "You got it!" squealed Lily as he removed the sheet music to show her. Lily's blue eyes sparkled with excitement, then clouded with concern as she looked at him. "Did you spend your own money?" He grinned. "No, young Mr. Conrad said I could take it because the back corner's torn. I made a good sale today, so he was happy." "Can you play it already?" She started to hum a snatch of the syncopated tune quietly. Aiden glanced around the other passengers and shushed, laughing. He shrugged. "I think I can. I've been practicing in case I have to play it for customers. If you ask your ma, will she let you come in when we get home so you can sing?" Aching shoulders from stooping over her sewing were forgotten as Lily dragged Aiden home. Gone was the grown-up young lady of this morning, and back was the girl. Pa had taken the family to the new bandstand last summer, and the band had played this number. They said it had been a smash hit in America, and ragtime was taking England by storm. Granny hadn't approved. She thought it newfangled and fast, but Lily loved it. Ma answered Lily's frantic raps at the door, neat and composed as ever, her brown hair now tinged with grey in a tight bun at the nape of her neck. Her blouse and skirt were unwrinkled despite all the work of the day. Before she married Pa, Ma had been the cook and housekeeper to an elderly gentleman who owned the estate and farm at Milton. Lily was amazed at how she always appeared unruffled and moved with a calm, gliding movement as she went about her jobs. "Despite my advancing years, I can still hear the door knocker the first time, Lily." Lily interrupted. "Ma, Aiden has the music to Alexander's Ragtime Band. He wants me to go in and sing it for practice. May I, please?" Ma frowned. "Lily Matthews, will you draw breath? Take off your hat and coat and then come in before you bombard me with questions." It was no good trying to rush Ma once she had that look, and Lily did as she was asked, bursting with impatience. "Ma, please can I go in for a while? Mrs. Donnelly says it's all right." Maggie relented, seeing her daughter's eagerness. "For a while. We'll be eating as soon as your father's home. Tidy your hair and wash the smuts off your face first." Lily hugged her mother and ran upstairs, eager to go next door. She barely noticed the faded roses on her bedroom wallpaper or the smell of lavender beeswax from her freshly polished dressing table. She poured water from the pitcher on the washstand, rubbed the wet flannel impatiently across her face, and then patted it dry. She'd empty the bowl later. She hurried back downstairs, steep and dark with a slightly worn carpet runner. Lily almost lost her footing, which earned a tut from her mother. "Take these in for Mary." Ma held out a plate of jam tarts. "I baked them this morning. Be careful not to drop them. And Lily," she glanced at her daughter, "will you walk like a lady, please?" Lily knocked eagerly at the Donnellys' house, then glanced back at her mother to wave. She couldn't read her expression, but wondered if she may be worried. Lily couldn't think why. And that's the end of chapter 1. And I'll be back over the weekend to read you some more excerpts. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a very good night.